andiko.
Jamendo.com.
So in MCF, Dr. Charles Mully found it a tree, the Grevillea robusta, as being the best agroforestry because one, it doesn't have a heavy canopy that will cover the crops that grow under it. So it will allow penetration of sun rays down to enable everything to grow. Number two, it does not compete with the crops in terms of nutrients. So that gave it an advantage. So again, it will help in windbreak, so that when you have the beans, the flower, when during flowering, the winds cannot blow away the flowers because you need them during pollination. So that helps to have a good yield. Number one, the other thing is the trees as they grow up 10-15 years, then you can be able to harvest them and have timber for your construction, cutting down the cost of construction. And even as they grow, the Grevillea robusta, they are those kind of trees that you harvest the branches and you have them sprout again. That means if you are doing like tomatoes, you have a bank where you can harvest branches for staking your tomatoes in the farm. So it doesn't need now to have an extra cost of going to buy the sticks for your tomatoes. You have them in the farm. Then you have the tree for windbreak. Then you have the tree helping you mark the boundaries of different blocks. That's why we do what we have. And then we maintain our forest cover. The one that is removed before starting farming is retained through agroforest. Construction of this highway, the bridge, road to Prof, was done by MCF construction team, and the design there was no engineer or architecture who designed this. This was designed by Dr. Mully himself, and was done by the young people who are getting hands-on skills training in carpentry, metalwork, and masonry work. They are the one who built this. But this came as a fulfillment of a prayer and a quest that Daddy Mully had over 9 years, desiring like how can we connect one piece of our land on this side to the other side, because he had put livestock there to provide beef for the children. But it was difficult when they slaughtered meat that they had to swim with the meat through the water and bring it home so that they can have beef. And so that troubled him. But it was more difficult for him when a neighbor who used to ferry people across this using a canoe, or where he had a string attached to one tree on the end of the river, both sides. Then on a Christmas time, like this month, people from Nairobi with their, Christmas gift to the community, they were, swept by the water because the rope was cut, broke out, and they were, unfortunately, they didn't die, but it really concerned him. What can he do? Number two was the women who are pregnant, and they had to come 4 kilometers down to the public bridge, and then 4 kilometers to come even to MCF to get help from our medical facility. Remember, you're pregnant, you're about the river, and you have to walk, no transport. It was difficult, and that really added to the burden in his heart. And that's why he started praying and thinking how he would do. But it was difficult because of the water and to put the two pillars at the center. But after 9 years, in prayer and a consistent prayer, the river dried up when we had a very severe drought in Kenya. And that gave a chance to build the 2 pillars and connect this bridge. And it was done in 2 weeks. completed. And then it started raining from the Aberdares, from the mountain regions, and then we had water flowing 2 days after the completion of this bridge. Then it has been like that. Now we have the truck can go over to the farm, take chicken feed, and through that we are able to support the children who are in universities and the college, who really demand a lot of money for their tuition, their upkeep, accommodation, and the pocket money, that which is produced now from the chicken that Daddy Mully is taking care of. Over 5,000 chicken on the other side of our property. To manage the water usage because of the increased number of children in MCF, after we got the Charitable's well, which was a miracle water well, saving the family and the children from water-related illness, that the Mully thought about now how can we be able to manage the challenge of water shortages. And then he thought about, now that we have a river that passes through our facility, MCF Ndarani, then he came up with the signing of the water treatment, which is a 7-stage water treatment plant like the city water, right from sedimentation, where the water comes from Chania River or a thicker river coming in, then it goes through the sedimentation where the silt is left behind, and then the water will move to the first chamber where it is added to the flocline, then to make the silt, mean the humus and all that kind of reefs that will be the water to float up using the sieve. Then they can be removed. Then the water will stay there for about 2 to 3 days, so that we benefit from the UV treatment from the open sunshine, because we have 12 hours of sunshine here. So rays from the sun can treat the water, providing the UV. Then it is moved into this other chamber where we have now the sand filtering. Sand filtering now is able to remove all the other particles that may be in the water. Then it's added with chlorine for preservation. Then we have our storage tank, which is 500,000 cubic liters. Then from that water we have a floater pump, which will send water to the distribution tower, which is 250 cubic liters of water. And then from the distribution tower, then the water is flows all the way to all parts of the family by gravity. Now, apart from providing water for MCF family, Daddy Mully also is providing clean, safe water for the community around MCF. Households are benefiting from this water. Why? Because area MCF is providing curative care services where people come to MCF dispensary for treatment. Right now, Daddy Mully was like, what can we do so that people, in the first place, they don't need to be sick to come for treatment? Through analysis, he finds that most people are getting sick of water-related illness. So the community now is benefiting from the clean, treated water from the water treatment for use in the household. So he set up a community water point where households come and get water. And over 250 households can get water from our water treatment plant from the water point, community water point. What does that mean? That means then that the people could be otherwise sick in hospital, all coming to MCF to seek for treatment, they are now well because they're not getting the waterborne disease. Then these people who have now a healthy body then can take up casual jobs and fend for their families because they can get wages and salaries through the casual jobs. And this now also in another way provides labor for MCF farm and MCF construction team from the community around, Hence, MCF providing employment again to the community. So there's a double benefit that the community is getting clean water for their health, and then it's getting jobs from MCF. Then number 3, then the Mully has also added on this from the water, then the community health care services, promotional health care, educating the people on diseases and helping them to learn about good nutrition. So as they work in the farm, they are able to see the different crops that MCF is growing. Then they can understand the nutritional value of each crop. And as they understand that, then they can develop their own kitchen gardens. Why? Because these women who work in the farm, they see how tomatoes grow, kales how they grow, amaranthus, they can go and do a small garden through watering, because the challenge here is water. And if they can water by the little water that they use for washing utensils, then they have maybe about some kales, some tomatoes that they can pull into the kitchen without buying, and that puts into their income, hence reducing the number of children loitering in the streets because of lack of food in the family, or not going to school because parents cannot pay school fees, because now parents can get some money from work that they do as casual labor. Number 3, the parents who could be sick in hospital, they are not sick in hospital, so they can be able to live a long life and avoid leaving children behind as orphans, so that they can see their young kids grow up into becoming responsible adults. So the essence is, how can we in Africa develop a way of using the little that we have, the resources that God naturally put around us, to develop a solution to the challenges that we have. And that's why Charles Mully is using water that was here to bring healing, to bring restoration, and to bring wealth to the community. For one to be able to transform the behavior of people, you have to change the environment in which the people live. So many years when Charles Mully, our dad, brought the first children from Eldoret to Yatta, which is a semi-desert area, it was dry, hostile, given that they were coming from Rift Valley, which was cool and rainy. So the children did not find it conducive. The staff members didn't find it good. They ran away most of the times, but Daddy Mully's effort was to follow them up and bring them back. Then he said, let's go to the beginning. Why can't we do the way God did? Before he created man, he created the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden had trees, fruits that they could enjoy. So he started by bringing in seedlings from Eldoret all the way to Ndarani, and engaging the staff and the children who were their older children to plant the trees. So he came up with a model which we call the Mully model of planting trees, where you dig a hole which is 2 feet down, 2 feet wide, and you're able to put soil mixed with manure, half of the hole. So you have like half of it which is not covered, which will act as a basin to hold the water, so that when it rains or when you water that tree, the water will remain around that tree, enabling that tree to continue growing, so that you don't have to water every day. And when we have rains, which may come in a week and is heavy, then the holes will act as speed pumps, holding the water and preventing soil erosion. The surface runoff. So that when you have the many holes in the farm, then water is slowed down by much of it being deposited in the holes, and it is going to help your tree to grow. And it is true that now that the Mully took up the challenge of raising seeds to seedlings, so that the community around Yatta, around MCF, to start now growing trees, engaging women in the tree planting exercise, teaching them how to do the tree nursery, and then giving the trees for free so that people can plant. And through that, we've had in Mully Children's Family done over 20 million trees, creating a microclimate, a good environment. Now we are attracting more rains in our region, and these rains, when it come, then through our over 60,000 square meters of greenhouse cover, we harvest all the rainwater. Then the Mully directed build hard dams, 5 of them, so that all this water goes to those hard dams, and then from it is able to use the same water in irrigating. Now, the last thing about the trees that the Mully has done is to engage the schools. Over 68 schools in Yatta sub-county that participate in Dr. Charles Mully Environmental Award Scheme. The scheme is meant to encourage young people to adopt a tree as they come to grade 9 or Form 1 in school. Then we have a mentorship program where our social workers, community health workers go to these schools. They talk to these young people about the importance of the environment, about climate change, mitigation and adaptation. And through that, then the young people are issued with trees to plant, which they will adopt during their 4 years in high school. And the child whose tree, on the school that grows more trees, they are awarded. They are given a trophy, which is Charles Mully Trophy, environmental trophy. And the school can get, books, supply, laboratory supply. All the children's school fees can be paid by Charles Mully, the best child. And through that, encouraging more trees to be grown. Now we have trees where parents can gather to have, annual general meetings under shades developed by their own children after they went to school. And then the same children now take the concept home to their individual families where they can plant one tree. Imagine if you have 10,000 young people in schools and each child goes home, plants a tree, you have 10,000 trees. What happens in the duration of 5 years? The multiplier effect. Now, looking at what again happened is behavior transformation and reformation, because we are not using corporal punishment in training children. Because MCF, we do not need to use force because of the kind of children that we rescue. We have to use our mind, because if you can change the heart of a man, the way they think, then you can be able to change the behavior of that person. And then we need to separate the misbehavior and the child, so that the person can see the wrong that they have done, and they can see themselves as good people, but who have done the wrong thing, and they need to do away with the wrong thing. Then they are given a tree to plant to mark the change. So as they water their tree, the tree will continue bringing in new leaves. And as they go check their tree, they can gauge how much of the transformation that is taking place in their own lives. They can say, 1 week, my tree has got new leaves. I have not done the wrong that I did. And through that, we have been able to achieve the transformation in character and the behavior of the young people. So that's why this tree nursery is very important. We are doing over 1 million tree seedlings every year, which goes to our communities, and part of it we plant in MCF, where the Mully has set aside reservation blocks for growing forests.
Father in heaven, holy be your name.
Jamendo.com.
Your kingdom come, your will